don't know, bro.
I'm here.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Henry T, and I'm telling you, I am fired up today, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got guest after guest today. We're going to start with Sammy C, great broadcaster, play-by-play man. He's all over Gallup. He's the top celebrity in Western New Mexico. Play-by-play, I love his play-by-play. And he's got the finest sports establishment, sports bar, if you will, in the whole country. I've been to Arkansas and Houston twice, and I've been to New York, and I've been all over the place. I've been to sports bars, if you will, everywhere. Sammy C's got the best in the country, if not the world. And man, can this guy broadcast. We've got Adan Carriaga after Sammy, and then we got Coach Samchez, the longtime principal of Rio Grande High School, and a coach, and you name it. Samchez has done it all. But first, we welcome live from Gallup, New Mexico, Mr. Bengal himself, Sammy C. Sammy, good morning. How are you, brother?
Henry T, I'm doing great, man. It's what an honor to be here with you, a legend, and you're just an amazing guy. I grew up with you, and Adan, I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing. But Henry, yeah, we go back a lot of years, man. You and I have been broadcasting for a long, long time, and I'm in my 52nd year of broadcasting, and
wow.
certainly not one day of regret because it's fun to be able to do what you like to do and be able to showcase a lot of students, student athletes. Ordinarily, they wouldn't get the kind of exposure that we provide and that you have provided over the years. And I'm just grateful to have had the association with you because there's no doubt in my mind, Henry, you and I have had we've touched a lot of lives in our state.
Oh my goodness! Every time I see you, you're barely hanging on to your chair because somebody wants your chair. Because it's always a sellout when the Bengals play, and you give your chair away. You're such a nice guy.
Well,
you have big crowds in Gallup. What?
Sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and I'm going to share a quick story with you that was of the impact of our fan base over at UNM at the pit whenever they play at state tournament games. I was broadcasting Rio Grande and Gallup girls in a district championship game a few years back when John Lemazny was still with us. And
yes.
I was at the old Gallup High School. That's how far back it goes. And I kept getting, and I'm in the rafters up at Gallup High, the old Gallup High gym, broadcasting the game, and I'm getting one of the secretaries from the front come up to the booth where I'm at with a note. We have an emergency phone call for you from Dan Salzwedel. And I'm like, what? I'm broadcasting the game. I can't leave this broadcast. So we're approaching halftime, and I had to hang on for dear life for halftime to be able to just break away and go. And he was persistent with us, Henry. So halftime comes, and I go down and I answer the call, and I'm on an extended. You know how this goes in broadcasting. I'm on an extended commercial break, one right after the other, and I told the board op, I said, don't come back to me until you hear back from me. So I go down and I take this call from Dan Salzberg. I said, Dan, what's up? It's emergency. What's going on? Oh, hey, I appreciate you taking my call. I just wanted to find out how many fans do you think we're going to have at the game this weekend when Gallup girls play? I said, couldn't that wait till after the game? I'm broadcasting a game, for heaven's sake. But that's how the fan base here has been. And, really, Northwest New Mexico overall has been terrific. I look at what Gallup High has done with girls basketball. The boys have come around here in recent years and have done a terrific job with some exceptional coaching staffs here. And then, we look at the years that Shiprock dominated and Kirtland Central. And, Navajo Prep would come over. Navajo Pine, in some cases, make the state tournament. the thing is that these people have a huge fan base. They're basketball crazy here, and it's great to be a part of it. I got the privilege of broadcasting the first state championship for the Gallup girls in 1994, and it was John Lemazny was coaching against Don Flanagan, and Flanagan was at El Dorado, and they had that dynasty going with so many state championships, Henry, and that afternoon it was Gallup's turn, and we beat the champions, the Dorado Eagles, and I've always been just enamored at the coaching skills of Don Flanagan. And but we won that game 48-45, our first championship in 1995. My late father John was with me. In fact, I think I saw you at the pit that day. You came up, and my dad was excited to meet Henry T. And we had a great time together. And but that was the beginning. And for years we made the state playoffs, but it was always it was building the foundation that got us over the edge. And then once we got over the edge, winning state titles was a little bit easier than it was before. And once you get to the top, you have that experience of winning those state titles, and it's a lot easier to win. But then you start building that tradition.
One thing about you, I give a critique in my own mind when I hear another broadcaster. We're all different. We all have our own way. And I love your way of broadcasting. You follow the ball, you give us inflection with the excitement, and you know the game so well. It's like I have a philosophy that play-by-play is like singing a song. You go up and down. There's sad songs. There's Beach Boys songs. There's all kinds of ways to use your inflection and make them sad or make them whatever the mood might be. You have the ability to change the mood with the game, and it's so accurately done. I commend you as a broadcaster. Pound for pound, man, I'd vote for you as our state's best. Way to go, Sammy C.
Well, Henry, thank you so much. That means a lot. It comes from you as a Hall of Famer, and I'm grateful to you for the kind words that you have. Living in Gallup, I was an Aggie. I went to New Mexico State. And back in the day, we didn't have a lot of the TV that we have these days. And, I grew up with a lot of nighttime radio on AM radio. And you listen to a lot of the basketball games, the pro games. I listened to a lot of Chick Hearn back in the day. And of course, my style of play-by-play came from what I call research, Henry. A lot of it has to do with, I spent a lot of time watching you in action. Spent a lot of time watching people like Vin Scully and Chick Hearn, Marty Brenneman of the Reds, a lot of these guys. And I always used to take a lot of notes, man. And this is back years ago. And you would take notes and pay attention to the game. Not only that, but follow through the theater of the mind what they were painting in front of you, so that you could get a picture of what you were seeing and what you were grasping at the game. So I would take the best of all worlds. And that's how I created my style. I picked up the best of all possible worlds and create Sammy's style from the best in the business.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you do it so nicely. But when it comes out of the wash, it's you and it's your personality and it's your way. No matter where we learn from, it all encompasses your personality, your vision, the way you interpret plays. It's you, Sammy C., the original. You can't go copy Vin Scully. There's only one Vin Scully.
Exactly.
When it comes out, it's Sammy C. That's why I commend you. You got your own style, and I love it. And I love the tradition of basketball, sports period in Gallup. I'll never forget a football game as a high school senior. We're there, and the place is packed. Sandia versus Gallup. And I rolled out the pass. Everybody's covered. And I ran for an 18-yard touchdown. And the place was so loud. I'll never forget that day. It was like being in the big time. We were fortunate to win that game, but I'll never forget that 18-yard touchdown run because the emotion of your stadium.
Oh, it's electrifying, you know. And during the heyday, we've been down for a few years with football here, but back in the days with Alex McAllister coaching, which was, you know, he was our winningest coach in football here. I didn't have the blessings of being able to broadcast any state title games for Gallup High School because we never had that opportunity. But I did during Alex's term and tenure as the head coach of the Gallup High School Fighting Bengals. I did get the opportunity of doing a ton of playoff games with him. We saw some just hard nosed football because he believed in power football. That was one of the things. I was in a game. We were broadcasting a game at Albuquerque High at Milne Stadium one night, and we were losing 21 to nothing at halftime against the Albuquerque High Bulldogs. And we ended up winning the game 29-21. And I remember losing a game to Highland High School the next year in the playoffs. We're losing the game 31 to nothing at halftime, and we end up winning the game 38-31. I
Wow.
remember it's just unbelievable, and it's just, you know, he
Sammy,
knew. Yes.
I want to get to your great establishment. And you're the owner of a radio station there. Maybe I'll go there next. You wear so many hats, and you wear them well. And your forte must be organization. I know you got a lot of composure in there, but you touch everything with all your heart and soul. And if you're in a classroom, you get straight A's for what you do. But you're a station owner, and you run the greatest sports bar, if you will, restaurant, cafe, establishment, whatever you want to call it, literally that I've ever seen in the country. Is it the best in the country? Your sports memorabilia everywhere, unique memorabilia. Is it the best there is in the country?
Well, you know, let me kind of give you the background of my broadcasting. I started here in 1969 with KYVA. Bob Barnett is one that offered me the opportunity of getting into broadcasting, and Bob is a great play-by-play guy in his own right. He's in his 90s now, still with us, and just a terrific gentleman. Bob is an amazing guy. I actually have never owned the radio company. I've worked. I'm the president of the company. I run it for a private family, and but I've been doing this for a long time, a lot of years since I've left New Mexico State. But we started my wife and I and our kids, Giovanni and Francesca. We started to the sports bar 14 years ago downtown, and it was something that I really wanted to do. It really is an affirmation of all the history of Sammy C and sports and everything that I have done. And I am grateful for it. CNN Go selected us as one of the top 101 best sports bars in the United States, and that was independently done. We had nothing to do with that. In fact, I had a traveling salesman that was a regular at Sammy C's from Denver, and he had just had dinner at our place like 2 weeks before I heard from him. And but he had called on a Saturday afternoon. I was doing some paperwork there, and he says, "Hey, congratulations!" He says, "You guys are one of the top 101 best sports bars in the U.S." And I says,
Wow.
"According to what?" He says, "No, this was CNN Go. Apparently, you had people evaluate your place independently. You had no clue about it." And so lo and behold, I did a little bit of research on it, and sure enough, we were honored that way a few years back. And it's a museum, Henry. It's a very engaging area, and I'll share a couple stories with you. We started it in 14 years ago, and it's a ton of memorabilia, a lot of history, it's my entire personal collection, really. Jerseys, footballs, helmets, baseballs, just a multitude of sports things. Very engaging. You can walk in and spend hours.
We got a shot up right now, one of the main rooms. That is busy. That is beautiful. Sammy, Oh, that picture right there invites me to go to your establishment and patronize it right now. Plus, I understand the food is good too.
Yeah, we have excellent food at our place. Right now, we have like a 4.1 rating with Facebook, a 4.0 rating with TripAdvisor. We have great service. We have 31 flat screens. People can watch all the sporting events that they can. Of course, before the pandemic, we were UFC headquarters, and we still are, but we're not able to show it because of the mass gathering initiatives and what have you. But we have it's engaging. You can follow whatever team you want. We've had a lot of notables come into place. We've had a lot of professional athletes to stop in, cheerleaders from the Lakers and the Raiders, and we've had most recently we had Wade Phillips. Dick Vermeil's been at our place. We've got Anthony Miller, who was a wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. The list goes on and on. Ed McCaffrey, Jay Novacek, Ron Jaworski. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. We've had a lot of these coming through, and we've been blessed by having them at our place. We sent some pictures over. We had a big celebration with the Washington Redskins here a few years back. Mark Mosley and the group came over and spent a day with us at Sammy's. We had the Arizona Cardinals. Michael Bankston, who was a lineman for him when we first opened up the place, was one of the first signatures that we got in what we call our Hall of Champions floor. And Bankston came back about a year and a half ago with a host of Arizona Cardinals and spent an evening with us. And they worked the crowd during a Thursday night Arizona Cardinal football game. And they came out and signed the floor. But yeah, we've had.
Sammy, I want you to give me in our final minute the highlights of your career. And I know number one highlight is your great family. Give me a little story about the family.
My parents came over from Italy in 1954, Henry. John and Carmela, my brother Dario. And there's two of us, two children in the family. I have two kids that we lost at childbirth in Italy. Otherwise, there would have been four of us plus mom and dad. But came over in 1954 and to make a better living for us. And came to Gallup because of coal mining. Our families were all here because of coal mining and railroad and what have you. So they came over to Gallup and grew up at Gallup High School, went to Gallup Catholic, and then went on to Gallup High School when they closed at Gallup Catholic, and was very involved, community oriented. I was involved with all the school activities and everything, and went on to New Mexico State, became an Aggie, came back and got into the business and graduated with my degree in 1976 in business, and came back and ran the company here for the family for a lot of years through Millennium Media, and then got married to a beautiful lady from Gallup here by the name of Marie Coliani, and Marie and we're great partners. And you think I'm organized and I have a great schedule. She's organized and she has a great schedule, and we were just kind of meant for each other. But we have two beautiful children, Giovanni and Francesca. They're both students at the University of New Mexico. Giovanni's getting ready for medical school, and he went to Miyamura High School, all-state first team 5A catcher for the state for Miyamura High School. Played football, was all district in football for the Miyamura Patriots. Our daughter was a all-state player for Miyamura softball, and she's part of the Lobo dance team at UNM. They haven't been able to dance this year, and she's going into chemical engineering. And
wow, what a story Sammy C has. Wow.
Yeah, we're
Sammy,
really
going to call you on again. We're going to call on you again here in a few weeks. Today, because of COVID and cancellations, we had to put a lot of people together.
I love it.
I'm going to bring you back for your own hour soon. But I commend you for the nice guy that you are, humble, very talented. You've built a lot, and you love your family. You're a good man, Sammy C. What a pleasure to have you on the Henry T. Show today.
Henry, thank you so much. It's a privilege. It's an honor. I've always loved you, and I'm grateful for your friendship, and it'll be with us forever. And know that I'm always here for you, and I wish you God's continued blessings, and wish you all the very best, brother. God bless you as well.
Man, what an honor to have you here today. Free throw contest, you against me someday. No crowd, Jim, your ball, whatever. Challenge.
Nothing but net.
And personality too. See you later, Sammy C.
Okay,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank you, Henry. Have a
All
terrific
right,
day.
take care.
Thank you for having me.
And
Thank
good
you.
morning, Gallup. Wow,
Thank
what a
you.
good man. That is a versatile, talented man with a big heart, great family. Ooh, wonderful play-by-play man. You got to hear Sammy C. He gets with it. Man, he'll have you dancing the aisles with excitement the way he does that play-by-play. Well, we've got two more guests. We're going to go right to our next guest, and it's Adan Carriaga. Adan is a story. Oh, does he have a story? It'll put tears in your eyes. Met him at the Boys Club, where we grew up together. I was so fortunate to be the director at the Old Town Boys Club, and he was a great athlete at Albuquerque High. Tough, grew up tough down there by the sawmill in Old Town. But man, could he play, and man, could he study. I mean, student athlete. And then later becomes one of our country's most profound, most talented artists. You have to see some of the work he does. We bring up Adan Carriaga right now, and this is a great reunion with Adan. And there he is right there. Man, tall, 6'4", talented rebounder. And back in the days at the Old Town Boys Club, we played until 1 in the morning sometimes. And and he'll give you the list of great names that played with him. All of them became Bulldog stars for the great Jim Holzman. Don, what a pleasure to have you with Henry T today.
Good to see you, man. You have more hair than I do.
Prove it. No, you better not. Oh, my goodness. That's what you call proof in the pudding.
That's right.
Hey, congratulations on all your success. Your great high school basketball career with the Bulldogs, New Mexico Military Institute. Man, you've been through it all. Tell us the story. How did you do it? Who inspired you to be so successful?
I think I've always just had a simple faith in God and just wanted to do the right thing and just have fun at life. And in the area that I grew up in the sawmill, uh, I was very blessed with the athletes that lived just locally, just right around me, right? Like on 13th Street, Paul Soto lived right down the street in Old Town, Glenn Lucero, and then down here on A Street was the Maestas, Tommy Maestas and Steve Maestas, and Milo lived down there too. Johnny Tapia lived right there too. And so it was just at that time there was just a lot of athletes in this area, and so our recreation, a lot of us didn't have a lot. And so our recreation was to go to the boys club and to go to Wells Park at night, or both, sometimes both. And Coach Halsman was probably the most inspiring person for all of us. I was dunking when I went to uh, uh, Washington Junior High at that time. I could dunk it already. And I was 5'8" and I could dunk it. And I was playing down there at Wellark one day, and Coach Halsman was down there. He would always be down there scouting. And he said, what school are you gonna go to? And I said, well, I'm gonna go to Albuquerque High. I didn't even know who Coach Halsman was. I never met that guy before, right? It was this old guy with a flat top, right? And he goes, I'm Jim Halsman. I coach at Albuquerque High School. I go, oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know nothing about him at all. I was just a little boy, and he goes, son, you have some raw talent and some good coaching, and if you pay attention and if you're coachable, you could probably play some college basketball. And that's the first person that ever talked to me like that. I was like, college basketball? I thought I was gonna be a block layer, like my brothers. I said, I'll probably be a block layer, But then uh, David Romo was down the street, and Roscoe lived off a second Mountain Road. So, and Romo was downtown, and so whenever we play, they were big guys as tall as me, so we always have to guard each other, and we became very very good friends. Yeah. And I didn't play that much at Albuquerque High. I could have done a lot better, but I hurt my leg. I was in a car accident, and I broke my leg, and they said I wasn't going to play my senior year, and I did anyway. That's where you remember me at the boys club, because I would go to the boys club, and that doctor said, he said, I don't think you're going to play this year. And I looked at the doctor and I said, you ain't God. You can't tell me what I could do and what I can't do. And so I went to the boys club and I started pumping iron and just pumping iron and pumping iron. And I got to the point where I could run. I would just run. We'd run all the way down there to San Gabriel Park was open, and we'd run to San Gabriel Park and around the park and back and to the boys club and back and forth like that, just doing some road work. And Coach Halsman had a real simple formula for us to follow, man. He says, if you, 12, 7, 4, if you play 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year, you got a good chance of making this team. you know, and there was just so much talent. And then when we played at Albuquerque High, I always think of the junior team that we had and went to the state championship game, and we lost to Manzano. And but when I was in junior college, I went to junior college. I went to New Mexico Military Institute (JC), and I played down there with some great players. But in our conference, off of that 74 team, there was 7 players off of that team in the conference. Right, Roscoe Locke and Edward Hunt were at Odessa. Romo and myself were at New Mexico Military Institute, and Richard Jenkins, Jesse Cleaver, and Gandhi were all at New Mexico JC. And just off of our team, there was 7 players in our conference. That was good. And
Wow.
there was other players that were on that team that went other schools. Went to other schools. So there was more college players off of that. And that was the thing. And when I played
Let's
at
back
Neiman,
up a little bit.
okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Let's back up a little bit and bring your mom into the picture.
Okay, my
What
mother.
a part of you she is, and how inspirational your mom must have been.
Yes, I was the youngest kid in our family, and there was 5 of us, and we had a half sister Maria. There was 6 total, and Sandra and I were the youngest, and so my mom, she didn't. We didn't have much, and my dad died when I was 9, right? And my mom raised us, and she sent us, me and Sandra, to Catholic school and everything. She's a seamstress over Sweetbriar. She used to do alterations and all that. And we always had food. We always had clean clothes. We always had a nice house, a nice clean house, and everything like that. And mom was everything to us. You know, she used to walk to mass every morning to San Felipe Church, rain or snow or whatever. She walked every day for 7 o'clock mass. And and when I wanted a bike, and my dad had died, and I wanted a bike. I wanted one of those Schwinn bikes, purple, with banana seat and all that, handlebars and all that. And I told my mom, I said, I want one of them Schwinn bikes with the sissy bar on it, and all that, right? And she goes, well, son, we're gonna have to save because you know your dad died, and our income's different, and we're gonna have to save for 2 bikes, because I'd have to get you a bike and I have to get Sandra a bike, because it won't be fair to Sandra. We'll get her a bike too. It's okay. So I'm gonna get me a bike. So the Duke City Lumber Company was right across the street from us, just right over the fence, the old Duke City Lumber Company. And I made friends over there with the guys at the Duke City Lumber Company. And I said, if you got any soft wood, throw it on over the fence to me, right? And so they did. So I started making Frankensteins, right? And I go down to Old Town, I paint them green, I put some screws in their neck and everything like that, And I go down there to Old Town, sit on the park bench down there and sell them for $10 a piece.
Wow.
They weren't very pretty or anything like that. I think the tourists just bought them, because it was a cute little kid selling uh, uh, Frankensteins down there. You know what I mean? And so I came a couple of months later, and I took out a pocket full of money, and I told my mom, I said, "Hey, Mom, look, I got enough for 2 bikes." And she goes, "Where'd you get that money? Lo robaste?" She thought I stole it, right? I said, "No, I'm making Frankensteins." She goes, "Frankensteins?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Let me see one." So I showed her, and she goes, "You're selling these?" And I go, "Yeah." And she gave me a shit. My mom had these real feminine, feminine, soft hands, right? And she puts her hand on my shoulder like that. She goes, "You just keep carving, hijito. Just keep carving." And so it's always been my hobby all my life, and it turned out to be pretty good for me. But
Tell us that story now.
Okay, well, my mom got killed in 1984 by a drunk driver, right? And it was just it was just too much for me to handle. My brothers and sisters dealt with it the way they did, but it really affected my life and how I saw things. And yeah, and I just started carving, and I just painting and carving and ran into different santeros and santeras, Charlie Carrillo and Arlene Cisneros Sena and Victor Goler and Arthur Lopez and Alcalde Ortero and Federico Prudencia. Just a bunch of different santeros and santeras just became friends. It was like a God thing, right? Like all of a sudden there's these people in my life and I'm learning how to old formulas, traditional formulas of how to mix paint and how to mix gesso and how to make homemade trementina, learning all these different things, and so I got to do that, and it was amazing because I started winning ribbons. I started winning. Sometimes I would win a ribbon, and sometimes I wouldn't. And people started liking my art, and I would get to sell my art, and it's something I love to do. And when I carve and when I paint, I pray. That's what I do. I'll think of people. Someone will come to my mind. That's having a hard time or lost somebody in their family, or they may be ill or something like that, and I'll just start praying for them when I carve and pray. And so I've been very blessed and very fortunate that the Lord gave me the ability to be creative with my mind to spread good news. And I never look at it like I look at a successful piece like this. If I make a piece and if for 1 second, 2 seconds, if somebody looks at something that I made and they thought about God for that very short time, even for that very short time, then I said, I was successful.
Wow. They're beautiful, Adan.
Thank you.
Before we go, give us your website. Give us a phone number, however you want people to communicate with you. What we just had on the screen was the most beautiful santeros I've ever seen. Congratulations.
Thank
wow,
you, man.
Look at that. Look at that.
Just, I'm on Facebook, Art of Adan Carriaga. That's it. Get a message, and I'm just very blessed, very, very fortunate to have this.
And where do you market your product? Locally, nationally, worldwide, where?
Just by word of mouth, right? But I do it on Facebook, and then I have this friend in Germany, right? His name's Hans Digger, right? And he had this Facebook page called Art Worldwide, right? It's Hans the Digger, and so I asked him one time. I said, "Hey Hans, man, let me post some of my art on there, you know?" And he goes, well, it might be kind of religious for a lot of people, man, but let's try it. If somebody complains, we'll have a conversation later. And so I kind of just wrote something, how New Mexico traditional art's made and everything like that, and I put it on there. Nobody ever complained, so I just kept putting pictures up there of different things, and I was very fortunate that people from Europe started buying some of my art. Some people in Rome, and some people in Paris and Madrid, and in England, London, England, and stuff like that. So I was very blessed. And then I met this one doctor, right? And and he goes, "Hey, can you make me a St. Francis?" I said, "Sure, man." And I go, "Where's that going to go?" And he goes, "I have." He goes, I'm a doctor at the Vatican, and I want to make a St. Francis for St. Francis for Pope Francis." And so he took it down there and he gave it to the Pope, So I was like, wow, that's very, 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 very. It was very much an honor, very much, very humbling, very much an honor. But this little guy from
Give us,
Sammy,
a guy we all love and we know well, Dr. Ron Maestas from Las Vegas, New Mexico. He
yeah,
adores your art and he's a great man.
he's a good
You're
man.
in his book, or maybe
You're,
all four of his books.
yeah, I'm in a few of his books. I'm in a few of other books too, and that's I don't know even know how that happens. It's just like I say, it's a God thing. All of a sudden, I'm somewhere and I meet somebody and they say, "Hey, I'm gonna write a book and use some of your art," and I go, "Sure, man, why not?"
Hey, I'm
And
going to ask you the most important question in your life. Describe your beautiful wife for us all.
Cesa Santana Carriaga. I'm blessed. I'll tell you that much right now. That is the most beautiful and most spiritual and kindest and loving person, human being that I've ever met in my life. And I met her on Facebook, right? I met her. I was um, I was posting pictures on Hans Digger's Facebook page, Art Worldwide, and there's people from all over there, Japan and Europe and South America and Canada, and there's just artists from all over the world, and they're networking on there, right? And so this lady used to like my page and all that, right? And so I'll make a comment, she'd make a comment. She speak Portuguese, I speak Spanish and English. Somehow we understood each other. And then one day we started talking pretty much, man, for about 2 years, man. We talked pretty regular, on Messenger and stuff like that. But you couldn't see a video yet on Messenger, right? We just talk. So I didn't even know what she looked like. She didn't know what I looked like or nothing like that. And we became good friends. We became real good friends. And I was telling her, I said, "Oh, you might try to contact me Friday, but I won't be around because I walk every year. I go over here to Santuario and I walk every Good Friday, And she goes, "What is that?" And so I was explaining it to her, and she goes, "Wow, how many people walk?" And I go, "A lot, maybe 13,000, maybe more. I don't know, but a lot of people walk." And she goes, "Wow, we have one like that in Brazil, Nossa Senhora de la Aparecida, where 1 million people walk." I go, "1 million people?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, 1 million. She goes, "Yeah." And they have this big old cathedral, man. It's like seats like 5,000 people, and they have mass 24 hours a day, and they just keep walking, just keep going, keep going, keep going. I said, "Dang, man." And so I said, "Well, I would really like to experience that someday." And so about a few days later, man, she called me. She goes, "Oh, I told my mom about it, and they're old school, So families involved. They're very family oriented, Brazilians, and she goes, I told my mom, and my mom said to invite you to come and walk with us."
Wow.
Really? So I went to Brazil, and then I seen Cesa. I go, "Wow, she's really beautiful. She, she's a beautiful human being, but her earth suit is really beautiful too." And so, we walked, and that was our first date. We walked up there, that mountain up there to the old church, Nuestra Señora de la Aparecida. And man, I'll tell you what, man, that was an experience. It's just an experience, it doesn't matter what faith people are or all that. But when you go to a place like that and there's a million people walking with a singleness of purpose and praying at the same time, that's kind of a hard thing to explain how you feel at that moment. It's just wonderful. I imagine the Camino in Spain and stuff like that is like that too. There's just
Adan,
things like that. Yes, sir.
as we wrap up here in our final minute, I've really respected you every day that I've ever known you, all of that time, several years. We played till midnight, 1 a.m. at the boys' club with all your bulldog buddies. And man, you were the greatest rebounder I ever knew then. Plus, you could score and tough. One time I went up for a rebound with you late at night, and you threw me out of there with a elbow, and I said, man, I respect this guy. He came to play. It wasn't personal.
No.
You might even help me up off the floor. It's just the attitude you have as a combatant in an athletic event. That's the way you've been. You're a fierce competitor. I've always loved that about you, and I've always enjoyed our friendship. Thank you for being on the Henry T. Show today. What's your final comment?
I just want to. I'm just grateful for where I grew up at. I still live here. And it was the greatest education I had. And the competitiveness in me is not to compete with anybody else. I just compete with myself. I want to be better than I was yesterday. Whatever it is I'm doing. If it's art, I want to be better. I want to make a better piece than I did yesterday. If it's basketball, well, I want to be a better basketball player than what I was. And I like defense too. I used to tell the guys, I told you one time, I used to tell the guys, we'd be playing against another basketball team. And I say, hey, bro, don't put that ball down in front of me. I'm going to take it. I'm a thief. I'm from the valley, man. They'd be dribbling. I'd be intimidating them, right? They'd be dribbling. I said, don't put that ball down. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. And so I'd make them so nervous. I would take it and I'd just pass it, to Romo or pass it to one of the other guys, but God bless you and God bless everybody, just spread love, man. That's all. That's the only purpose here on the planet, man. Just spread love.
God bless you, Adan. Thanks for being on my show today. We're gonna do it again.
Okay, let's do it.
Soon.
Let's do it.
Okay.
God bless you, man. Have a good one, brother. Love you, man.
Love you, Adan. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Adan Carriaga. 1 in a million. See the variety of people that we know. Henry T doesn't have any notes. It's all relationships. It's all right here. And it's all right here. And not bragging or any of that, but there's not a single sportscaster in New Mexico that can work without notes. It's experience with these great relationships. And I'm just so fortunate. Many of them are stars in their respective field. And most of them you meet are athletes, but you're going to meet the other ones that I'm acquainted with as well in the days to come. We're going to go right to another gentleman. Good man. Good man. He's done a lot of things just like Adan. He's been an educator, great athlete back in the day, and a coach. Wow, what a coach. Football coach, athletic director, a principal. This is a talented man. And his family, we grew up with in the North Valley. What a good man. His name is Samchez. You know him well. You've read about him. You've seen his teams play. You watched him play. Let's go to Samchez right now. Bring him up on the screen so all the rest of you can meet this versatile, talented man. Coach Al, how are you today, buddy? Good morning, Coach Samchez. I can't hear Coach.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you great, Coach. Hey, congratulations on your great career. How are you?
Henry, I'm doing good. I'm just a happy guy and living day to day and just loving what God has given me, Henry. And it's just a good experience. It's good to be alive.
Hey, he's blessed me with a strong friendship with you and your family. Wow, that's a great story. Thank you for allowing that to happen, Dad.
You know, Henry, I remember you interviewing my son, Alfred Sanchez, my grandson, Santiago Aguilar, when they were playing high school ball, when they went on to college. It seems like you're just a part of the sports program here in Albuquerque, Henry. I want to thank you for what you do for all the kids. Because me and you, we both work with kids constantly. And the only thing that they give us that we treasure are the memories, Henry. And those memories they can never take from us, Henry. That's why I can stand by you anywhere, any place, anytime, and know that Henry has my back and I have his.
No kidding. Man, give us your resume. You've been so many places, and every place you go, you shine. Everything that Coach El Sanchez touches turns to gold. Give us your long list of places you've been.
Okay, wow. I started doing my student teaching in Mora, New Mexico. I went to Highlands University. I played football a couple of years, and then I had my first child, so I had to work, and I got a job. But then it was time for my student teaching, so I went to Mora and I worked under Art Romero, a great basketball coach. I learned a lot from him. He was like a person that taught me a lot about coaching and a lot about dealing with people. After that, I got my first job as a football coach in Cuba, New Mexico. In Cuba, I went to state every year. We had an undefeated team. It was the only team that was undefeated and didn't win the state championship. We lost on the penetration in the semifinals, and we couldn't move on. But in the record book, it's crazy. It goes down as the undefeated season. And some of those players were Eddie and Harold Hall, two Hall brothers that I'll never forget how strong and how good they were. And I also coached basketball there too. And after that, Henry, Roger Cordova was working my master's at Highlands, and Roger Cordova, a good friend of mine, goes, "Al, you need to come back to Albuquerque." And my dad passed away, so I kind of wanted to go back to Albuquerque, Henry. I wanted to go back, and I went back and I started working. Roger helped me get in at Valley, and there I was the assistant football coach working under Willie G. Goldsmith. And that was fun. That was fun. Willie G was a great coach. Back in the day at Valley, I still remember Joe Coleman was our quarterback. James De La Fuente, an offensive tackle. Then I coached JV, and I had Tommy Trujillo and Johnny Trujillo. And then we had Big Brian Stafford from Sadie's and Strong from up there. And then we had the Bullet Robert Arona. Those were great years, and that's when and then in 1985 or 84, I left Valley. I became a football coach at Rio Grande, and that was a story in itself. I thought I wasn't going to get the job. I applied because I was pretty happy. I was going to be Phil Ewing's one of his assistants. I was happy going to do that summer. But I applied for the job at Rio Grande, and hey, they called me for an interview. I interviewed, and the principal the very day called me up and said, "Al, we're going to go with someone else." So I was good. I said, "Okay, well, thank you, Larry, for the interview. I appreciate it." So I don't know. He called me back 2 days later and said, "The coach that came left. You still want the job?" So I said, "Hell yeah, I'll do it." So he was telling me that that coach, whoever that coach was, went. He saw the kids and said that he wasn't going to win here, and he left. So that was my biggest challenge of getting a team that wasn't used to winning, that never won much, and to make them winners. And Henry, I had to work and I had to pray, but the second year I was the coach there, or the third year, we went 5-4. That was the best record ever that we had in football. And I'll never forget Robert Gallegos was my quarterback. Mark Lakes was a defensive end, an animal. He went on to play at Eastern, and that was a good team. And if Highland would have beaten the Bulldogs that year, we would have gone to state as runner-up in the district. And but we lost, so that was a hard one to pill to swallow. It went on. After that, I had that great season with Jude Griego and Randy Gutierrez and Stevie Montaño. You know, we had a great season. It was a terrible loss at the end, but we survived it. We moved on after that. That was great. And then I decided to become a principal. After all that, I became the assistant principal of Rio Grande High School, where I was there for 3 years, and then from there I moved to Ernie Pyle as the principal, and then in 2000 I became the principal at Rio Grande, and I stayed there till 2008 when I was struck with cancer, and I thought I was down and out, Henry. The doctor told me I had a 50-50 chance of surviving. I had stage 4 renal cancer, and it mutated to my lungs. So he told me I didn't have that much time, and I accepted it, Henry. I accepted it. But my daughters didn't. They said, "Dad, you're going to fight this. You're going to fight this." So before I knew it, I was on a plane to Houston, Texas, MD Anderson. The doctor looked at me, Dr. Patrick Koo. He looked at me and said, "Al, you're too young and strong to die. Do you want to fight?" And I told him, Henry, I told him I fought all my life. So I fought this. He gave me some type of experimental treatments, and it worked. And it was 5% chance that I was going to come through with that, and it did. And it's been 12 years, and I'm still alive, and that's why I enjoy God and I enjoy life. That was a story in itself. And then after that, I was in the bed in the hospital, Presbyterian Hospital, and Alvin Bouchard, one of my old players, comes up to me and says, "Coach, if you live through this, I want you to be my assistant." And I said, "Alvin, I'm going to live through it, and I'm going to go help you." And I did. I was an assistant for him for 5 years, and I was just living life, enjoying every minute. I remember some of the players, Isaiah Rogers, that I coached him. He was great. Tim Brennan, Adam Cumber, Ryan Ashbaugh, Jordan Jones. They had a great team. And the first year I was coaching, this it's kind of crazy, Henry. I'm talking too much, but I like to talk.
I love it. Keep talking.
I was coaching. Alvin got real sick, and he had to leave the team in the hospital. So he tells me, "Well, I trust you. Take over the team for till I get back." So here I was, an assistant coach, happy now. All of a sudden, I have all this pressure. Just for one day, I was the head coach for 2 weeks at Sandia. Here I go. That day, he told me we had to play Hope, the number 1 team in their division. They were tough. They beat us by 20 some points. They hammered us. The next the next day, we had to travel to Clovis, and they were the top 4. I was trying to get this team to believe in me, to get them going, and we did. Me and my assistant Ortiz, he was Kenny Ortiz. He helped me a lot, and he goes, "Okay, just talk to the kids. We got them fired up." We lost, I think, it was under 6 points to Clovis, a high-rated team. Then all week practice, I didn't want the kids to feel that it was over because they didn't have a coach, but I was there for them. We played Volcano with Brown. They had a great team. We beat them. Ashbaugh scored the winning bucket, and we beat them on an offensive rebound putback. We won that game. Then the kids started believing. Then we went to, I think it was one of my old players to King. King was the coach at Los Alamos. We went and we spanked them pretty good. And after that, I got out of coaching, and then I started. Then Coach Frank Castillo calls me up. He says, "Hey Frank, do you wanna? Do you?" He goes, "Al, do you want to coach for me?" I go, "Frank, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it." So I became Frank's coach, and I was so blessed. I lost you, Henry.
Al, Coach
Yeah.
Al, you're a legend in New Mexico. Every time I talk about you to anybody, everybody knows you. Everybody respects Coach Al, and everybody loves Coach Al Sanchez. Before we go in our last minute, I want you to describe your beautiful wife.
My beautiful wife is Dolores Sanchez. When I was down and out, she was there for me. We've been married 46 years, and she was my high school sweetheart at Manal High School, and she's always there.
Wow. And my son went to school with your beautiful daughter, Monica, and she was always so academic oriented, so respectful, so prudent, so punctual, just like you and mom. What a role model she is. And she's a school teacher today, I understand.
She's a principal at a charter school, Henry, uh, and she's doing great. My son is a teacher. Alfred Jr. is a teacher at in San Francisco. Patricia is retired. She's not retired. She's just raising her kids now, but she was a principal. And Tanya Sanchez, she's a counselor. So they're all doing great.
Hey, well, before we go, you're in good shape. I need to get in better shape. I got a brand new ball the other day. I got brand new sneakers. We'll use your favorite gym, Sandia, Valley, or Rio. You and I are going to go one on one and play a game of basketball to 10 baskets, coach. There's only one problem when we play.
What's the problem, Henry? When?
What hand do I tie behind my back?
That's all right. I'm going to need it, Henry. I'm going to need it.
Hey, I love you like a brother. Thanks for everything you ever done for me and my family and my son, Aaron. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Henry, for having me on. I appreciate it. And I want to thank all the players that played for me, all my students that I ever principal for, that I was a principal for. And I want to thank those great families in the South Valley that were loyal to me, the Trujillos, the, the Lopez family, the Lujan family, the Martinez family, the Radosevich family, and the Sanchez family. They're great families in the South Valley. And I want to thank them for always being there for me.
Wow. A life of highlights. Congratulations. You know, since I have about 40 seconds left, you're a man of God. Your Christian walk has been very impressive. Do you mind sharing your faith with all of us today?
My faith is a strong Catholic that believes strongly in God. Without Him, we won't have nothing. And my message to everybody is treat everybody with love, treat everybody good, because you never know when it's going to be your last day on this earth. So just be good, be happy, always be happy, because a smile spreads. A smile, people like to see happy people.
Wow. That's a great man. A double thank you before we go. Say hi to all the family for Henry T.
You got it, Henry T. I'll see you on the court.
You better buy some brand new shoes.
Just keep an eye out for me, Henry, because I'm going to start coaching my grandson, Big Bad Leroy Brown. So you'll see me on the court at some community center coaching him. He's the next one.
All right. Love you, Coach. Take care.
Love you, Henry. Take care. God bless everybody.
God bless you. Wow, what a packed show today. All these superstars and Amestoy Drywall, Pierre Amestoy, former Valley Viking baseball star. He leads the field in helping Henry T. He was my first sponsor when I opened my radio station, first sponsor when we do our show here. And thank you to Chuck Jackson, Action Jackson Compaction, Rax Lumber. Thank you, Richie Tabbett. Thank you to Indigo Mortgage, Ben Lucero, and Kevin out there. He's a good man. And they're telling me it's time to go, so I better go. And we'll do it again. And we'll do it again well next Monday, here Wednesday. Thank you. Comcast 26, Henry T, GameFace Live, and wow, ProView Network. That's when you're graduating. Henry T's on ProView Network. Wow. Steve Davis and all the great staff here. When they punch the buttons, they know what they're doing. And we love them because they do great work for the kids all over New Mexico. Good guys. They know their craft. And to Steve Davis, the former star at Clovis High School, God bless you, Steve. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and do the work I love to do. Well, that's going to do it today. Thank you to Sammy C., Adan, Carriaga, and to Coach L. Samchez for being on the Henry T. Show today. See you soon. See you Monday at 11 o'clock right here. Take care.